Shalom and welcome back to Israel with Aline. Today we're going to talk about a recently discovered archaeological find, and it's shocking. It is related to Joshua's curse. It is also the oldest Hebrew text ever found in the world, and it also contains the name of God. Let's talk all about this archaeological find that is revolutionizing the study of biblical archaeology in just a few days. So if you're ready, let's get started. This archaeological find was announced last Thursday, and I stopped all the programming here on the channel to share this news with you. It is a small tablet, just a little over 2 centimeters in size. It is made of lead and was originally found in December 2019. But why are we only finding out about this now? Because the lid is folded. And that means that when they found it, they could see the letter Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And they imagined that probably inside, if they opened it, there would be a text. But since this is very, very old, if they opened it, there was a big chance it would break and crumble. So they took this find and sent it to Prague, to the Czech Republic, where they use scanners similar to medical tomography scanners, and they managed to create a 3D model of this tablet without opening it. And then they started to read the text that was inside, and the text is really shocking. The short text contains 40 Hebrew letters and a total of 16 words. Of those, 10 are the word curse. Let's read the text together now in Hebrew and then in Portuguese. Torud, toel, tosem. Well, it seems so. Cursed, cursed. Yud, He, Vav. You will die. Cursed, cursed. You will surely die. Cursed by Yud, He, Vav. Cursed, cursed, cursed. Did you notice that I pronounced God's name a little differently in Hebrew than in Portuguese? But we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, I want to tell you where the tablet of the curse was found. It was found on the mountain of the curse on Mount Ebal. Shall we remember the biblical story? When Joshua enters the promised land, which is the land of Israel with the people, the 12 tribes are divided between 2 mountains. Some will stay on Mount Gerizim, which is the mountain of blessing, and the other half on Mount Ebal, which is the mountain of the curse. Let's read a little bit from the original passage in the Bible. When you have crossed the Jordan, these shall stand on Mount Gerizim to bless the people: Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin. And these shall stand on Mount Ebal to pronounce curses: Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali. And the Levites shall testify to all the people of Israel in a loud voice and say, Cursed is the man who makes a carved or cast image, an abomination to the Lord, the work of the craftsman's hands, and sets it up in a secret place. And all the people shall answer and say, Amen. Cursed is the one who despises his father or his mother. And all the people shall say, Amen. And the biblical text continues with a total of 11 curses. And in the end, Joshua builds an altar on Mount Ebal. And on that same mountain, During archaeological excavations in 1982, an altar was found that fits perfectly with the biblical description in the passage of Joshua. Now, in these archaeological excavations, they removed tons of soil and they couldn't process all the soil, every single little stone. And since the place is very important, instead of taking all the soil they removed, analyzing it partially and throwing it all away, they decided to keep it somewhere else on Mount Ebal itself and said that in the future we would be able to excavate this soil again. And that's exactly what happened. In 2019, they were excavating the rest of the soil that was removed from the side of the altar, which is called Joshua's altar. So this small tablet was found in the soil that was next to the altar. Guys, Joshua's altar and the curse text were both found on Mount Ebal right next to each other. The question is, what is their dating? When are the altar and the tablet from? And the answer is, both were dated to about 3,200 years ago. Guys, 1,200 years before Christ, which is exactly the dating of the time when the Jews left Egypt, the 40 years in the desert, and the entry into the land of Israel. So the artifacts physically fit the description in the Bible and also the dating, and obviously the text, which really draws our attention for being a curse found on the mountain of the curse. And does this archaeological find change our entire way of studying biblical archaeology? Why? Because critics of the Bible used to say that the people of Israel didn't know how to read and write at the time of the Exodus from Egypt, and that's why the Bible would have had to be written much later. There were archaeologists, not from here in Israel, but from other parts of the world, who said that maybe the Bible was written in the Hellenistic period, that is, during the Greek period, or that some parts were written during the Roman period, and that it couldn't have been written at the time of the Exodus. And here we have irrefutable proof that the people of Israel knew how to read and write, and to read and write in Hebrew. It's not exactly the same Hebrew that we speak today because the alphabet is proto-Hebrew, meaning it's a slightly older Hebrew alphabet, but the letters are equivalent. So for people who know ancient Hebrew, they can also read this text even today, showing that the people of Israel knew how to read and write, and therefore could have written the Bible at the time it was written, according to the tradition of biblical archaeology. It's very important that this tablet is the oldest Hebrew text ever found, and also because it contains the name of God. Until last Thursday, the oldest text with the name of God that we had was a text called the Mesha Stele, which is from the year 830 before Christ. That is almost 400 years later than the text we have just found. And the Mesha Stele was not written by the people of Israel. It was written by the king of Moab, whose name is Mesha. And he tells about the conquest of the region of Moab by King Omri, the king of Israel, and the Moabite revolt that happened after that. We know about this passage. This story also from the Bible itself. The second book of Kings, chapter 3, tells us about Omri's conquest and then also the Moabite revolt that will happen. And in this stele written by the Moabites, they include the name of God, which is the tetragrammaton. Tetra means four. The tetragrammaton is 4 letters. The Yud, He, Vav, He. Now, in this text that we found, which is almost 400 years earlier, the Mesha Stele, the oldest version where we have found the name of God, it doesn't appear as the personal tetragrammaton. Only 3 of its letters appear. The Yud, the He, and the Vav, the last He, is missing. It's not written on this small tablet. The question is why? Why don't they include God's full name? And the answer is we still don't know, folks. We have no idea. This finding is brand new. It was literally announced just a few days ago, and the full research will only be released in a few months. Everything I'm telling you, folks, is the little information we have so far. We'll know a lot more in the coming months, and one of the things that really stands out in this text is the partial name of God, and it appears twice. That means it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't erased. Whoever wrote it on purpose, just the 3 letters. And when you saw me reading the text at the beginning, did you notice that I didn't read the name of God? First of all, it's not complete there. And second, in Judaism, we don't pronounce the name of God. But these 3 letters, they do appear in Judaism, and we do pronounce them. For example, the name Matityahu, the end of the word Matityahu, is exactly the same letters that appear on this little tablet. So probably the reading could be done this way, but we really don't know. And there are still many mysteries that will be revealed from Mount Ebal, from this tablet, and from the future archaeological excavations that will take place. They are a bit limited in that place because Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim are both located in the West Bank. So due to political issues, there are major problems with archaeological excavations there, and there have also been attacks by the local Palestinian community on the archaeological remains. In fact, in the year 2020, part of the stones from the altar and the surrounding walls were stolen. So in addition to all the biblical archaeology and all the mystery we have, there are also political tensions at this site that prevent archaeological excavations from being carried out in a completely free way. But really, this little 2-centimeter tablet is revolutionizing our way of seeing biblical archaeology. The name of God, the dating, knowing that the Jews already knew how to read and write at that time, it fits with the biblical description in the narrative of Deuteronomy and the book of Joshua. I mean, a lot is still going to be revealed, and everything new in archaeology that is really worthwhile, we will share with you here on the channel. I hope you enjoyed this last-minute news. If you want to know more about biblical archaeology here in Israel, tours and history, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we're getting close to 1 million subscribers, and we're going to have a really cool party and celebration here on the channel with a big surprise for you as well. A big kiss to everyone. Thank you for subscribing and for watching, and I'll see you next time.